Three, two, one, and go.
I had to really unlearn everything I'd learned about how to manage an organization and learn a new way of thinking and being within the Teach for All global organization, because we set out to say, okay, we can't develop collective leadership all around the world if we're not developing collective leadership within our own organization. To just work with a small team if we can have a huge impact. Okay. So it's more like, I want to work on something that's going to have a huge impact. So if that takes a large organization, then I'll do it. But I'm working with a very small team on a different project right now that's aiming to have a huge impact. So that's cool.
Hello and welcome to UpClose Personal, Season 3, where we dive deep into the hearts of leadership, collective action, and education equity. I'm your host, Alron. Today, I have the utmost honor of interviewing Ms. Wendy Kopp, founder and CEO of Teach for All. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
You know, when I joined Mantra and Shikshagra over exactly a year back, I heard story about Santosh and Khushbu where they started with one school in Anekal, and of course now it's a pan-India movement. Sometimes when you sit on your own, do you realize about the global movement you have created?
I never could have imagined when I first thought of this idea as a college student 37 years ago that it would bring me all around the world, or that it would inspire and kind of magnetize so many people with kind of similar kind of values and beliefs. So no, it's just been so inspiring for me. I feel so privileged to be part of this incredible global community that's kind of magnetized to this purpose and vision.
Two things to pick up on that. Is there any part of the world that you have not gone yet, or have you been to almost every country in the world?
I haven't been to every country. Okay. I'm guessing I've been to maybe 70 countries.
Okay. What's next on your list? Any new country?
I'm going to Indonesia after this.
Oh, is that first time?
It's not my first time to be there, but we're finally about to see a Teach First Indonesia.
Oh, congratulations. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Second thing to pick up on what you said. I'm not sure if our viewers know this. The idea of Teach for All came from your thesis paper, which is the argument and plan for creation of a teacher core.
Yeah.
What was the cause or the motivation to first write the thesis paper and then start this movement altogether?
Well, as a college senior, I was just searching for a way to make a real difference in the world. And I felt that I wasn't alone, and that there were thousands of other graduating seniors out there who were equally searching for the same thing. And all the recruiters were companies banging down our doors, asking us to commit just 2 years to work in their firms. And I thought, why aren't we being recruited as aggressively to commit just 2 years to teach in the urban and rural public schools in our country? I had felt that education was the key to my freedom. Like, it opened the world to me and made me feel like I could do anything. And I was really aware as a public policy major and just a concerned college student that wasn't the case for everyone, that where you're born predicts the educational opportunity you have. So all those things came together to lead me to this idea.
If you had to go back in time in this movement you have created, would you have changed any decision that would have taken a different course? I'm just curious.
Oh, I'm sure if I had this to do over again, I would probably, knowing what I know now, do many things differently. And yeah, maybe would get.
Yeah, one example, can you give us? Maybe one thing you had done differently?
The thing that comes most to mind, I think this work across Teach for All, Teach for All, which is the global network of organizations now in 63 countries, right? From Teach for India to Teach for America to the next. It came about because, initially I was just fully focused on the U.S. and addressing the massive inequities in our country, like head down, was not thinking about the rest of the world. But about 20 years ago, we started meeting people from all over the world who were interested in seeing something similar happen in their countries. And that's what led to the launch of Teach for All as a network of independent, locally led organizations in all these different countries with a global organization that helps everyone learn from each other. And from seeing how this has worked and the power of kind of local ownership and leadership that's both locally rooted and globally informed has led me to become kind of obsessed with this kind of network approach to scaling social innovation, where you have all the brilliance and diversity inspired by local contexts and cultures, like free to adapt and innovate and all. And then you have a global organization that's helping everyone learn from each other, right? So if I had it to do over again, I would actually start Teach for America similarly.
Okay.
Where in all the local communities across the U.S., locally rooted people would lead kind of probably independent organizations in those communities, and then you'd have a national organization helping them all learn from each other. Because I've just seen there's such power in kind of local ownership and in this idea of being locally rooted and informed by what you can learn from everyone else.
On this point where you mentioned, where we were talking going back in time and you mentioned 20 years ago, there's this trend happening on TikTok, Instagram, and social media right now where people are going back to 2016 and uploading their photos from then and going back to the reminiscent moments from 2016, slightly indicating that since 2016, since the boom of technology and the boom of social media, 2016 was the last time we were truly happy on the internet. On that note, how have you personally grown over the last decade? Have you seen some change in yourself in terms of your thinking or any kind of personal growth?
That's such a good question, and I love... So almost exactly 10 years ago was when we came together as a network. We had grown from 2 organizations, Teach for America and Teach First in the UK, to 40 within something like 10 years or so. And we felt like we needed to come together and kind of really rethink our strategic foundation. So we came together and we asked ourselves, what's our 25-year vision? What are we trying to accomplish in the next 25 years? And we came together around a new vision around, all kids having the kind of education that will enable them to shape a better future for themselves and all of us. And we reinforced it, kind of restated our core purpose as being to develop collective leadership to ensure all kids fulfill their potential. And it was at that time, as I reflected on, okay, what is it going to take for us to live into that purpose and realize that vision? And I realized we're going to have to reinvent the way we work within our organization. So to your question about, I think you asked personal growth, I had to really unlearn everything I'd learned about how to manage an organization and learn a new way of thinking and being within the Teach for All global organization, because we set out to say, okay, we can't develop collective leadership all around the world if we're not developing collective leadership within our own organization. So everything from, we eliminated our senior team. Like, we no longer make decisions as a leadership team. Right. We're pushing decisions out so that many, many people across the organization are empowered to make those decisions while also tapping into the collective wisdom. But that takes kind of mindset shifts personally, because it's a lot to give up control in that way. Right. It's been very liberating for me. So I'm actually much happier now than 10 years ago.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
On your note of collaboration, because we've been talking about collaboration, collective action, you're at InvokED over the last few hours and over the last day. Why is collective action more important than ever now?
Well, because the challenges we face are seemingly, they feel more complex than ever. And I think what we've all learned is, just take the issue I know best, which is the inequities around kids and the fact that we're just not setting up our kids to navigate today's reality and solve today's problems that's a very multifaceted problem. There's no one thing that will solve it. I mean, it's going to take, as to quote someone I heard once, like 101% solutions, right? Like it's going to take so many things. So that takes a lot of people working throughout the whole system at every level of the education system and government and from outside the system as well. So it's going to take all of us working together. And I wouldn't say, I mean, we could all get caught up in terminology. I don't think it takes one collective action. It takes collective leadership, right? It takes people throughout the whole ecosystem around kids who are all on this mission to ensure all kids thrive, who are all exercising agency and doing everything they can in that pursuit, while also stepping up from their individual pursuits and kind of creating the space to foster relationship building, to have the discussions and debates, to learn together and to collaborate where it makes sense. So that's how I think about what we need if we're really going to get where we're trying to go.
How easily can you get collective leadership or collective action wrong? What is one thing that can easily ruin a collaborative work that someone is trying to do?
I think it all starts with the work on ourselves. Like, I mean, when we're in a good place ourselves and we've worked through whatever trauma we may have been through, et cetera, then we can bring our whole most open selves to the work and engage with others and build strong relationships, which is the root of everything. It's just the human relationship. And we can keep our eye on the ultimate goal rather than on maybe more kind of ego-driven pursuits. So I think it all starts with the work on ourselves, with our human relationships, essentially.
This point of working on ourselves versus, when doing collective action outside, I was talking to Alex yesterday, and I asked him the same question: what has been the biggest difference for him personally over the last 10 years? He said that it's not just at his work, but also in his personal life that he works with communities and does the collective work. Is it the same for you? Has the idea of Teach for All or the work in Teach for All and collaborative work, has it mixed up or gotten into both your personal life and your work life?
I think that we've probably built our family already. Like that was probably our instinct, rooted in these kind of principles. So I don't know if that's been a shift. I spend most of my energy on either family or work. I mean, I don't even consider work. Like I love what I do and have this incredible, community. I will say that I think the principles of collective leadership have informed not only how we kind of work within our own organization and network, but how we think about our engagement in the broader kind of global ecosystem. And it's really influenced, I would say, how we've gone about a lot of different things. So when we think, gosh, we really need to shift, like even beyond ourselves, we need a norm shift in how young people think about their first jobs. I mean, I'm obsessed with that idea right now. Our first instinct is to just think, okay, how do we catalyze collective action? Like, who else would care about this? Like, let's get everyone in a space. Like, let's just start talking about the issue, because we know, like, we ourselves are not going to catalyze a worldwide norm shift. Yeah. It's going to take so many different people from different perspectives. And we've done that with a number of different issues. Like when we think, gosh, we need to shift philanthropy so that instead of focusing on things and scaling projects, the first instinct is to invest in people, in developing leadership so that local leaders can solve their own problems. How do we create that shift? And we've built this whole people-first community of, more than 1,000 people from every sector and kind of work who are thinking together about, okay, how do we increase practice, learning, and investment in leadership development, collective leadership development as a path to sustainable development?
That's super interesting, because the reason I asked the question to Alex and to you is also in India, we have something called as a development sector branch circle. It's a very informal group. In Bangalore, we have a big park called the Kopp Park. So once a month, the dev sector branch circle group, we are around 250 members, not all 250 show up, but once a month, we meet in Kopp Park and we interact, we talk about our work and everything, and we see what works. And similarly, I have people that coming over to my house and I cook for them, and just, again, people in different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Since I just finished a year and I was penning down my thoughts at Mantra Shikshaga, and I realized that for me, collective work collaboration has now come to my personal life and to my work life.
Yeah.
And it's just seemingly being flowing between the two. I was in Hyderabad recently, again, talking to a few people, and it's like, it realized we're all meeting, talking about our work and how we can easily, learn from each other across countries. And I realized, hold on, am I doing this at work or is it in my personal life? So I'm glad to see that resonates with you and with, Alex as well.
It does, because I think because you've done the inner work, it's going to influence every part of your life.
I think it's a nice characteristic trait to have. I have these green flag, red flags on a table. What I would request you to do is you can pick either one color. And if you pick up a green flag, I'm going to ask you a question which is very straightforward, positive, everything. But if you pick up a red flag, it's slightly more complicated. Maybe a complicated question, to put it very straightforward. So you can pick either one, just one, and you'll have to hold it until I ask you the question.
Okay, I'm picking the green flag because you're getting me before my morning coffee, which is tough.
Okay. What makes us so positive and exciting about the global work that we are doing? Not as a Teach for All, but in terms of just education with, let's say, 1 billion futures or Shikshagra or whatever. What makes us so excited that all this will work one day?
I feel like the world, as much as there are many things happening in the world that seem extremely challenging, there's a whole other force in the world that feels like it's growing in momentum. And I feel like when you think about where we are now versus 10 years ago, things really have shifted in the global education ecosystem. I think, and I'll just name on two fronts. Like one, I think there's much more collective embrace that, yes, we need to focus on equity for sure, and foundational learning, crucial. But we need to put our sights way above that and really think about how do we foster a different level of commitment to education so that we really are preparing today's young people to shape a better future for themselves and for all of us, which means growing their agency and awareness and well-being and connectedness to people and planet and problem-solving and critical thinking skills. I mean, I think that's people accept that at the global level and in the global ecosystem. And that wasn't always the case 10 years ago. And I also sense a real growth in the degree to which people get that we need to invest in people and in collective leadership if we're going to get where we're trying to go. And that's a huge shift.
I'm genuinely excited to see what the next 10 years holds for the collective work that we're all doing. You can keep back the flag now.
Thank you. I'll give you your flag.
Before I head to my last question, I've been doing a lot of long questions. You've been giving a lot of long answers. I thought we'd do a quick rapid fire question. It's an either or.
We'll try.
I'm going to ask you 4 or 5 questions. I have a feeling what your answer would be, but I'm still very curious to know. All right. Sorry. Would you rather teach in a school or a college?
School.
Would you rather work on policy or on the ground?
On the ground.
Would you rather lead a small team or a large organization?
It depends.
Okay. Depends on what now, I'm curious.
I mean, I'd rather just work with a small team if we can have a huge impact.
Okay.
So it's more like I want to work on something that's going to have a huge impact. So if that takes a large organization, then I'll do it. But I'm working with a very small team on a different project right now that's aiming to have a huge impact. So that's cool.
Is that something we can talk about now?
Well, it's this new little project we have going called Rising Generation that's trying to affect a norm shift in first job choices so that many more young people decide to take jobs that put themselves in communities on the front lines, addressing the root causes of the social issues we face.
Oh, I'm excited to see and hear more on that later.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick your brain on that. Would you rather have funding security or creative freedom?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've spent 37 years with creative freedom and no funding security, so I guess my choice is clear.
Now, as a fundraising person for Mantran Shiksha, I get that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd rather have both.
Yeah. No, I also still. Would you rather change one system deeply or many systems slightly?
One system deeply.
Oh, how come? Just curious.
Well, I think that may be the way to transform the other systems as well, because then you have like the lighthouse example. But I mean, clearly Teach for All, you might think I would say something else, but I feel that we're catalyzing deep change within systems everywhere. I mean, I'm not leading that. We're supporting people who are leading that work all around the world. So I feel that we have the best of we're doing it broadly and deeply.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
To close off this interview, I wanted to set us in a fantasy land. If a genie were to appear to you today, saying that genie will grant you 3 wishes, and those 3 wishes will lead to education equity, what are those 3 wishes that you're going to ask for? Of course, you can't ask for more funding or more wishes, obviously, but if you had to ask for 3 wishes, what would it be?
Okay. So let's see. I would say that there's a collective embrace of the idea that what we have in our classrooms today is what we'll have in the world tomorrow, and therefore we need to prioritize education in a completely different way. Secondly, that we see stakeholders around kids, so educators, families, employers, policy leaders, etc., all around the world, in communities everywhere, stepping up from our current system and asking, what do we want for our communities and our country and our world? And therefore, what should we be working towards in education? Like really rethinking the very purpose of education and what we're working towards for kids. I think that would be my second wish. And the third would be that the most popular thing to do among the very most talented people in the world would be to be part of that revolution, to like teach and work in education to transform the system so that we can put our world on a different trajectory.
Yes. I hope your wishes come true one day.
I do too.
For you and for all of us.
Yes.
Wendy, it's been an honor, not just doing this interview, but talking to you yesterday, working with you and your team on 1 Million Futures that we've been doing. To be very honest, I moved to the development sector from the banking sector, and I was traveling India, I was doing WASH, health, and it's only last year I got into education, and I came with my own set of biases. And while most of them have gotten resolved through my work at Mantra and Shiksha, there's still more that I carry, and I hope in time they get resolved as well. But the point is, when I got into it, my friend had started doing Teach for India, and I didn't know what Teach for India was, and I was learning about that. I never would have imagined I would have had the honor to be speaking with you. So thank you so much for the work you have done and you're doing and what you will be doing in the future as well. We're all very excited. Thank you for your stories, insight, and your incredible wisdom. Thank you for our audience for tuning in. Stay connected, keep the dialogue going, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, an honor.
Thank you so much.
All right.